Hello, everyone. It's Maddie Regis, paid media manager at AUTOMOX, and I'm back with another episode of IT Insiders, which is AUTOMOX'S podcast that introduces you to the people behind the product. So this month, all the pods are talking about next level automation for the most part, and so we've got a couple members of our security team here because they leverage a lot of that. So we've got Ryan Braunstein, our team lead for security operations, and Matt Lee, security engineer. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Ryan, we'll start with you, but I want you each to just give me a little bit about your career background, your current role, and I always ask everyone the name of our company you'd give if it wasn't called Automox. So, Ryan, over to you.
All right, fair. So yeah, I went to school for cybersecurity while I was kind of like touring in the back of a van when I was like in a pop punk band back in the day, and then I jumped into IT because that was just kind of what I could get into at the time, and I just kind of kept applying all that security stuff in that area. Um, and then I came to this company and ended up starting it as a sysadmin, but eventually getting promoted to the security team. It's like my first like real long term full time security gig that wasn't consulting. So yeah, that's kind of my journey. It was a wild one. And I guess if I were to change our name to something else, I would go with AutoMax, like around our mascot. Because like right now we have some people or AutoMox. Oh my god, I did what other people do, which is why I wanted to change it. Because people keep doing AutoMax, and I'm like, that's a car place. That's not us.
Yep.
So yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I've definitely got some sales emails from vendors, and I'm like, oh, just one letter, missed it by one letter.
Yeah, almost had it.
Yeah. I love that. We love auto here, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Matt, what about you?
Hi, I'm Matt. I started here in IT. My background's mainly in IT, and was doing IT for almost a decade, and then just bugged the right people here and moved over into security and kind of never looked back. So it's been kind of a wild ride. I've been here. I just passed my 4-year mark, or in a couple of days, which feels like I tell everybody like geriatric in the startup world. But what's nice is I started here in one position, and so really I kind of treat it as like two jobs, because when I switched over to security, it definitely felt like a career shift. So yeah, that's my background. And I was trying to think of some names. I think what's interesting about our product is like, I would say patch ops, kind of like the DevOps movement where that blurs the line between, development and ops teams. And so we are a patching company, but, we're kind of on that line of like patching plus automation. So that was kind of the first thing that came into my head.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we're so much more. I mean, patching was our bread and butter. That's how we got started. But I like to say we're so much more than that at this point. So
Yeah.
okay, speaking of automation, obviously that's what we're here to talk about today. So we're talking about sort of like next level, up level automation. But I feel like in order to kind of understand that from your all's perspective, we just need to like have an understanding of how you use Automox in your day to day for automation. So kind of just run through the basics of what you all do in the security team.
Yeah. I mean, so day to day kind of like is day to day is very different, I guess, from like our more we do some one-off stuff, but like in our day to day, we a lot of times use it to ensure the health of some of our tools. Like make sure certain processes that are involved with the tools are running, make sure maybe a username is registered to the app like internally or something like that. But then we also do like some cool stuff like incident based things, like when the XZ vulnerability came out, we had one of our engineers like write a whole AutoMox script to detect that version on any of our devices. and like generate like a CSV around it, which I thought was super cool just to use in the moment. But yeah, I'll let
Yeah, I
Matt
think
say some
we
more. Yeah.
yeah, we also we have a couple scripts for incident response and forensics too, so we can gather a bunch of information about the device or kind of what the last state of it was. And then we are looking to run um, some Yara rules, which will more help us with like threat hunting, response, kind of detecting threats. So um, we are exploring that right now. But I mean, like, what's cool about the product is if you can run a shell script, you can, run basically anything you want. Just because we do offer that capability. So kind of the possibilities are sort of endless. I mean, you could even like, and I know I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but I think for just more advanced stuff, you could have an event that fires off some shell script that maybe hits a webhook somewhere that runs something in maybe your EDR or something else that fires off something else. So yeah, it's pretty cool what you can do with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I love it. Let's get into it. What about that next level, that level up automation? Ryan, we'll go over to you first.
Yeah. So when I first started here and I was like on the IT side, one of our other colleagues, David Van Heerden, and I, we kind of had this idea to do what's called worklets on demand, where like you put in a ticket and then it triggers an automation somewhere. It's like a self-service like help desk kind of thing. But then I was like, as it evolved, I started thinking like, well, how could I make this more secure? And now that like, I'm on this side and I'm able to like look at the different data points that tie a user to their identity. It's like, cool, you can fire this ticket off, have it analyze every single one of those data points and say, okay, this is definitely that person with like 100% confidence. It's coming from the same IP, same area. Like if there was an attacker, I guess it would be on their device. But there are ways to like secure that process. I feel like that's like a cool advanced automation is kind of like the verification behind your help desk and also like reducing the load on your actual help desk team. Um, that's something that I'm like pretty passionate about is like elevating the help desk teams and stuff like that to kind of get to that next level by taking some of like that, you know, more granular work off of them. So
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I definitely am very aware that the product does that, but it's really interesting to hear you talk about that from a security perspective because I feel like a lot of times we're focused on the IT ops and not so much the SecOps. So, Matt,
yeah.
what else? You got any other fun tidbits of leveled up automation that you all use?
Yeah, I mean, I think our API is pretty powerful. And so, you know, kind of that event driven automation, if something meets the right conditions, maybe your SOAR will run a script to reach out to our API and run a bunch of policies on certain machines or all your machines or an affected machine. And so I think really utilizing the API to build even kind of more granular automations is a really interesting idea. And I know we haven't fully explored it yet on the security team, but it's kind of on our radar to do that. And I think I also found a blog on it, kind of running on-demand policies, at least via Windows, but kind of some ideas on, because a lot of our security stuff is event-driven. So we we ingest a bunch of data, and if something is anomalous or even an alert from one of our systems, it's pretty cool to take that event, maybe take the host name, some other piece of information, and then fire off some automation to remediate something on that host. And I know we use it for some compliance stuff too. So like required software, right? And making sure certain things are up to date and kind of things like that. So that would be my advanced automation tips.
Cool.
Awesome. I love it. I mean, yeah, it sounds like you said, possibilities are endless. There's lots of different ways to leverage it, which is great. So another question for you guys. Obviously, we love to talk about AUTOMOX on this pod. We love to discuss the product, but are there any other tools that you guys are using over in SecOps for advanced automation outside of AUTOMOX?
I mean, I am and have always been, since I even got my hands in the AWS environment, just a sucker for EventBridge and Lambdas. Like, there is just such a large volume of things that you can create in there. And obviously, it's expensive. It can get expensive, but it's just a ton of fun to integrate systems that way. I'm a sucker for like doing any kind of like cool, we don't have the money to get a solution that covers like this gray area here, like creating some middleware solution that like solves for the issue. It just that makes me feel very happy overall, just creating things like that. So I like to call them like $1 million Legos. So yeah.
Because it could cost you $1 million. Let's be real.
If you hit the wrong
gets
switch.
Out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd kind of agree with that. We use we use a lot of Terraform here, and so I think automating all of our infrastructure is done via GitHub Actions, Terraform, things like that. And then we use Rapid7 as our SOAR, so we have some automations in there with if we need to start a new incident, we have a whole Slack bot that can spin up a Slack channel, take notes, put it into our it's called Iris, which is where we track investigations. And then, even Patch Safe, right? We built that as an automation to scan third-party packages for anything malicious, right? So kind of using automation to, basically keep the integrity of our supply chain intact. Because, if we do have something bad in a third-party package and that gets passed to customers, like, who's gonna be blamed for that? That's
us.
Yep. So it's just one other layer that we're using automation for to kind of increase our value and really keep our customers safe.
Yeah, I didn't even think of Patch Safe that way, but you're totally right, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But cool. Other than that, just we use a lot of Python around here for one-off scripts. We use some shell scripting, kind of help IT with some scripts. So anything, I think when Ryan started,
you were Zapier. You're a big Zapier guy.
Zapier is an amazing tool. I don't know if it totally scales well, but
I think it might actually. It may actually cover that. Yeah. So.
But yeah, when I started, it was a Zapier empire that Ryan walked into because we were, trying to make sure that anything manual, just didn't have to be done on it. It was more centered around new hires. So it was, submit a form, accounts get created. We solved a problem with tracking numbers and tying that to a new hire and their personal emails, so we wouldn't have to send those out manually. So
yeah, and then I built Hades and Gaia in Okta workflows. Those are our onboarding, offboarding. The one creates life, one,
Yeah, and I think it's anything that is manually done can 99.9% of the time be automated. So find yourself doing
with
a task.
Human eye above it,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you're doing a task over and over, even if it's only, a 5-minute task, think about how much time you save over a year with just automating that thing. So that's hours and hours.
Yeah. And there's an equation for that too. I remember when I was taking a Python course years ago, there was a whole course why, or the value of an automation was time spent versus, I don't know. I can't even remember it. But there is an equation. I highly recommend people check it out.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, it's just all about what else can you do with that saved time as well, which is then another value add. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's there's all that fear. I feel like people are really afraid to actually automate themselves out of a job, but they don't realize that AI, all that stuff, it's still going to need a person overseeing it. Like, you're trying to make your job lighter, not easier, but lighter, so that you can do bigger things, more effective, more nuanced things that you couldn't just automate, like things that need a more direct human touch to. So
Yeah,
that's my
100% agree.
yeah. Cool.
All right, awesome. Well, that's all the chit chat I've got about automation, but I do always end this podcast with a game. And we're actually recording on the day of National Video Games Day. So this one's going to be a little silly, a little cheesy, but I tried to tie some SecOps activities into some certain popular video games. So we'll see. We'll test your all's knowledge, see how you do.
Oh boy.
All
Oh
right.
boy.
So this first question, this one's going to be multiple choice because I figured I'd be nicer to you guys for that. So reducing time to patch is obviously a top priority for SecOps and IT Ops teams. You guys have a need for speed, which is similar to a certain overall plumber and his friends when they race. So the first question is, when was the first Mario Kart game released?
Ooh, has to be 19. Oh, sorry.
Oh, do you know it off the top of your head?
I'm guessing 1994. 1996.
You're close. You're close.
Okay.
It's 1992. So we'll give it to you. That's I would say you're in the right range because yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll be more patient on this next one. I just jumped the gun there. I'm so sorry, Matt. That's on me. All right. Like,
I mean, I was gonna say 1991, so I was closer than you.
Oh yeah, Matt would have been Price is Right rules. He would have been closer without going over.
I think I was thinking of Mario Kart 64, which I think was definitely in like the 96 territory. But yeah.
Yeah.
Not the Super NES one.
Yeah, the OG, the very first.
Yeah.
All right. So on to the next question. And again, it's whoever goes first, but you both get the points.
I'm hanging back. All right.
So you're often scanning for vulnerabilities, just like the characters in The Last of Us are scanning for fungi-infested zombies. So what is the name of the main male character in The Last of Us? All right, Ryan.
I think is it Joel? Joel?
That's it.
I don't know how I knew that. I don't think I've played those games.
Because it's not just an iconic video game. It is an iconic like HBO series now. And maybe you've seen that. True. Yeah.
It's expanded beyond the video game world. That is true.
Oh, it's incredible. It's one of my top. Last of Us Part 2 is like my top favorite video game of all time right now. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing. I like it a lot too.
Yeah.
All right. Final question. So the SecOps team is constantly making improvements to infrastructure and just in general. Obviously, we talked a lot about that today. And that's similar in the game series Animal Crossing. It's kind of one of the things that you do as a player. So what game system was Animal Crossing New Horizons made for?
I know this, Matt, but you.
Why don't you go for it? I'll see if I'm right.
All right. I'm pretty sure New Horizons is the Switch one, not the Game Boy Advance or 3DS one.
I was going to say Switch.
Yeah.
You guys are right. Yeah, that was the one that came out. Oh gosh, it was right before 2020. Yeah.
It was during the Panini, you know?
Yep.
So.
The Panini.
Yeah.
Worst Panini ever.
It was terrible Panini.
That's true.
Yeah. I would not order that Panini again. So
definitely not. Yeah. Not one I ever need to see again.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right, awesome. Well, Matt and Ryan, super great to have you guys on. Thank you so much for the insights and the video game knowledge as well. And to everyone listening, keep an eye out for new Autonomous IT podcasts every Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
See ya.